everyone. First of all, I thank Rabbanan giving me this opportunity to talk about Abu Mina. I love Abu Mina. So I thank the committee as well for giving me this opportunity to dig in a little bit further. And one of my close friends, she gave me his book that I've been reading for the past month. And it's incredible. I totally recommend each one of you buy it. It's available on Amazon. It's incredible. It has his story, every single detail. I feel like I'm going to be talking for ages today, so I'm going to try and summarize the important bits about his life. As they mentioned a bit earlier, he was martyred on the 6th of July 2013, so pretty recent. And one of my friends at work recently experienced him personally. I'll quickly tell you her story. Basically, she was looking for a flat, and it's been going on for weeks and weeks and weeks, nearly like 2 months, and she was really becoming like really desperate to find a flat, and she only had 2 weeks before she's kicked out. She's Christian, but not really close, if you get what I mean. Yani she believes that there is Jesus, she believes Mina Aboud, she wears the cross, not really believing in miracles. So I said to her, I was preparing that talk about Abu Mina, and then she was like, who is Father Mina? And I briefly told her his story, and it was a Friday. And I was like, how about if you do believe in miracles, just say, Father Mina, please help me. She was like, I shall repeat, Father Mina, please help me. Friday goes, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, out of nowhere, a flat comes out on the market. Her daughter that hasn't interviewed and hasn't seen any flat before, and she's been doing all the legwork, she goes in, not planned, Tuesday, she signs the contract. Instantly, I felt like, thank you, Father Mina. And then she came a little bit later and she was like, that must have been him. Thank you for letting me know about his story. He's amazing. I've got one more thing to ask him. And yani, he's becoming my true intercessor in a sense. So let's get started. Abu Mina in 2013, this article had come up after his martyrdom. This is Tassoni wearing the white ushar, and this is Abuna laying down. We're going to explore a little bit further what happened and why he was covered all in white. He died at the age of 39. It was literally afternoon time, 12 p.m. when all this happened. Abu Mina was the first priest to be killed after the issue that Egypt had, 2013, and he was specifically targeted. People wanted to kill him specifically, not because he was only a Coptic Orthodox priest, but because he was really firing his service. So they had really targeted him. They had threatened him that we're going to kill you, watch out, we're going to kill you. He got lots of messages, lots of phone calls, random people stopping him in the road until he was martyred on that day. Who is Abu Mina? Abu Mina is this little baby in the picture with his mom. His mom, her name is Fai'a. Fai'a, when she was pregnant with Abu Mina, he's the eldest son, and the other two is Jun and Mina, his siblings. When she was pregnant with him, she had a dream, and she saw a man standing in front of her with such a big cross on his arm, and she was like, what does that mean? She kept thinking of it, and she was like, you know what, and I'm gonna name him Salib. Everyone were like, no, you can't name him Salib. You're living in Egypt. You know how everyone is threatened if you're Coptic. Let alone if they see a cross on your hand, they threaten you. Imagine if you're actually called Salib, everyone will target you. And she was like, if this is the only reason that I'm going to change my mind of calling him Salib, no, I'm going to still call him Salib. So how about you call him Stavros? In Greek, that means cross. So at least it's not directly, but it's still what you want. Salib, but in a different language. She's like, no, I'm going to still call him Salib nonetheless. Of course, Rabbana is going to protect him. But if this is your only reason, I'm still going to name him Salib. No, it doesn't matter what happens, but he is a gift from Rabbana. So I want to make sure that his life is blessed مع Rabbana bardo. So she named him Salib. The bishop that is not shown really in the picture is the Metropolitan Hedra. We have a bit of a story coming along the lines, and he interfered in his life and whatnot. So just remember the name, Metropolitan's Hedra. So after long arguments, he was named Salib, and Tante Fai'a rarely remembers when he was badly behaving. He was really, really like an angel, minding his own business, not arguing with anyone around whatsoever. When he was in year 9, sadly, his dad passed away in a really, really bad car accident that really affected him very much, that he took his pain and all his grief and turned it into liturgies. So he was attending as many liturgies as he can. He didn't يعني ما لجأش لحد تاني. He didn't go to anyone else, his friends or his family to comfort him. He went to ربنا. Through liturgy, he was healed. Through liturgy, he found himself. And this is how he slowly grew a little bit further, loving the hymns, that his mom had a bit of an issue. He will tell me how she had an issue with someone learning hymns. Basically, a funny thing that Abuna Mina did, his dad had got him Walkman. It's an old style that you can hear stuff on it. So he had a lot of cassettes and CDs where he can listen to hymns and whatnot. That Ibrahim Ayad and different deacons that are known in our church. Abuna Mina, he would go secretly in his room pretending that he's studying, and his mom would know that he's studying, apparently, under his blanket with the Walkman on and listening to hymns and learning them. And then Santa Fayesha was like, like whatever is for Caesar, give it to Caesar, but whatever is for God, give it to God. This is time for you to study. It's the last year, year 13. خلاص, you're gonna get into uni. Just focus on studying. Abuna Mina, nicely يعني, didn't listen. He carried on. What does Tante Faya does? She goes straight away to the Metropolitan Hijra. She was like, أنا عامل فيه شنو ده؟ هو ما عايز يسمع، ما عايز يذاكر، ما عايز يعمل أي حاجة، عمال بس نضيع وقت في الألحان. And he was like, الشباب اللي برا الكنيسة we complain about them إن هم ما بيحضروا الكنيسة، واللي بيحضروا الكنيسة وبيحفظوا ألحان we complain about them. Can you just mind your own business and let him praise ربنا? It was really, really funny. يعني he grew learning lots of hymns that he knew them off by heart. Like he was considered like one of the monks in the monastery in a sense, that he knew every single hymn and he was striving to learn more and more as the day was going by. And nonetheless, he did make it to university. He went into Commerce University in Ain Shams in Cairo. He was originally born in Aswan, so his uncle was like, come to me, live with me in Cairo, so then you can study and take care of your university. And so he did. Abuna Mina had a very unique tradition. Every Saturday, like some of our lovely shabab hina, he would go to Tasbihah. He's ill, tired, family commitments, like exam tomorrow morning, and he's not prepared, he would still make it to Tasbihah. He would not delay that time at all. Like that was a very segregated time. أنا هروح أحضر التسبحة حتى لو حصل لي إيه. And then slowly, he started encouraging his friends. And his friends would attend with him. And then slowly, he was like, why we only do it once a week? Let's do it twice a week. So did it Saturday and Tuesday. And then slowly figured out that our female population, they can't stay out very late because their husbands will get upset or irritated and whatnot. So Abuna Mina was like, okay, what time is a good time for you to go home? Let's plan a tasbihah that it's early enough for you to attend the tasbihah, and then you can go home in an appropriate time so your husband don't go have a go at you. So he had tasbihah 3 times a week. He was very known, everyone loved him, everyone was following his passion for Alhan, and they were asking him, please teach us. And they were never bored of learning Alhan because he had his peaceful way of motivating them that this is the language of heaven, we have to know it. We have to learn it. We have to make sure that we familiarize ourselves with it. So then tomorrow, inshallah, يديكم ربنا طولة العمر والصحة, when we go to heaven, we know the language of heaven. And quoting the Psalm 61:8, I'll sing praise to your name forever that I may daily perform my vows. And that's it for this. Abuna Mina طبعا كان على طول بيلبس شماس. And then he moved to Cairo, and there was a church. He was trying to find out where is the closest church to where he was studying, and the closest church was St. Mary al-Amiriyah. This church was known that they were really, really poor regarding Alhan. They had no one to guide them, no shamamsa that were familiar with the hymns, no one that was leading the Coptic language whatsoever. So apparently Father Girgis اللي كان مسؤول عن الكنيسة دي بتاعت العذراء, he was not a mere student, he was a heartfelt answered prayer من ربنا, that he knew we were really desperate for someone to come and guide us, someone to come and teach us الألحان, so he sent Abuna Mina, Salib at the time. I wonder whether this is going to be loud. There are quite a few videos, so I'm going to try and summarize as we go along. So if you wanted the presentation, I can send it later on, and you can see lots of different bits and videos that are cropped from different resources for you to watch. I really, really strongly recommend you go and read more about him after today. He's an intercessor that everyone have evidence إنه هو بيجي بيخبط على بابك. He wants to become your friend. My first interaction with him, I was at a dentist in Egypt, and excuse what I'm going to say, the receptionist was رغاية. She was talking endlessly and she would not stop talking, and I'm like, I don't want to become your friend in a sense. عايزة أخلص معادي وأروح بيتي خلاص. And then last day in our appointment, she was like, I really, really loved you, bless her heart. I really, really loved you. Take this as a memory from me. وكان brush صغير على صورة أبونا مينا. And I had recently heard إن لما حد يديلك صورة قديس, this is them trying to become your friends. And then I came here, and after our holidays in Egypt, and one of our friends, she said she was really going through critical times where her son was in A&E. So she had really lost hope. She thought her son would go really blind. خلاص يعني فقد الأمل. And every time she was scrolling on Facebook, صورة أبونا مينا تطلع. She's crying. صورة أبونا مينا تطلع. And then she's like, who is this? And then she would scroll a little bit again. صورة أبونا مينا تطلع. And every time we would appear and disappear, same day, an hour later, الدكتور قال لها, your son is absolutely fine. Don't worry, nothing will happen to him. He is fully recovered. And this is how herself knew that Abuna Mina was trying to become her friend. And once he becomes your friend, he wants you to let other people know. That's why I feel like he kind of motivated me to be here today. مع ضعف إن هو أقول قصته. And my passion and love to him has grown so much throughout the days as I was reading about him. أبونا مينا من كتر حبه في الألحان, he created a school, the hymnological school of Saint Stephen, who was his shafir. So he created that school. Initially started with the very basic of like Coptic language, a couple of hymns here and there. Slowly grew up very quickly. لدرجة إن كان في دلوقتي, I think دلوقتي is around 50 to 70 servants and lots of different children, adults, all across the whole generation. The youngest kid was about 4 years old, and one day while Abuna Mina was taking care of the school, this 4-year-old decided all of a sudden she's gonna walk home alone, 4 years old in Egypt. So Mama البنوتة, she came and she was like, where is my daughter? أنت السبب. If my daughter doesn't come in the next hour, I'm gonna blame you. If my daughter, anything happens to her, أنت اللي هقضيك. طبعا أبونا مينا, bless his heart, he freaked out. He went out across the streets with other servants trying to find this 4-year-old little girl. At some point, desperate, in one of the side roads, he looked up into the heaven, sat down on the floor crying, and he was like, St. Stephen, this church is named after you. Could you please do something and find this daughter, this little girl? I don't know where she is, where she's gone, where I'm going to find her. Egypt is such a big, I think it was the Al-Amiriyah, like kind of side of Egypt. Where am I going to find her? Someone had kidnapped her, someone حطها في العربية ومشي بيها. St. Stephen do something. Moments, just a couple of minutes, he receives a phone call. The daughter is found. Wait, what? How? They went to the mother's house and يعني اللي هو حصل ازاي ده, البنت رجعت ازاي. They were like, come tell us, what happened? Who brought you back, or did you come back alone? And she was like, bless her, explaining like an angel. A deacon came along, was wearing all white and white with 2 red stripes, took me from my hand and brought me here to my parents' house. Instantly they knew it was Saint Stephen, وراحوا عملوا مديح قديس استفانوس شفيع أبونا مينا. So bless his heart. I can imagine how stressful that was, but Saint Stephen didn't leave him alone. Now, one of the days, one of his students was really scared to go with Abuna Mina to a monastery, تاع الأنبا مكاريوس العظيم, and he was like, يا أستاذ صليب أنت عربيتك قديمة هتقف بينا في وسط الطريق. Like I don't want to go anywhere with you. Just go alone. راح قال له just come with me. I really want you to see المدير بتاع الأنبا مكاريوس. You would love it. راح قال له عربيتك هتقف بينا. Your car will stop, will get overheated and stop in the middle of the way. Somehow he managed to convince him. So Salib and that little kid, they went to the monastery. Had an amazing time. But the kid didn't want to come back. The day that they wanted to come back, the car overheated. And guess what? The car stopped. So the car stopped and then the kid of course يعني freaked out. أنا قلت لك we shouldn't have come to the monastery. العربية وقفت and we can't go back home. أبونا مينا يعني tried to calm him down. went under العربية, I don't know about mechanics anyways. went تحت العربية praying psalms and whatnot. والواد عمال بيغلي بقى جوه العربية like do something أنت عمال تصلي لي ده وقت الصلاة. reading his psalms and whatnot and trying to fix something out. Half an hour later, the car turned on. It worked all the way to the gas petrol station, then it stopped. But is for me what touched me اللي هو أنا لو واقع في مشكلة if I'm in the middle of a problem, don't overthink it. Just صلي and see the power of the prayer what's gonna do to you. So his life was يعني testimony of a lot of miracles every time he was asking for ربنا. Now, Tasuni Mariam in the picture, she kind of knew from the first day when he walked into the church like a new lad كده وبيعلمهم الحان. She knew that something will happen between them. So anyways, they ended up like agreeing that they're gonna get married. Who stands against this? His mom. She was like, no, you're gonna come back to Aswan. You have ورث كتير من big inheritance from your father. You have to take care of it. There are many lands that you have to take care of it and look after it. Metropolitan Hydra that we saw a little bit earlier, he was like, ما تسمحي له. Don't allow him to get married. He has to come back to Aswan. No apparent reason, but apparently he thought that Salib would turn into a monk and go to the monastery. Tasuni Mariam, of course, cried. He was upset, and they both decided that they're going to pray. They prayed together. Following day, Salib decided to go down to Aswan to speak to Sayyidina. Tasuni Mariam went to Adair, like a day trip khalwa, and she decided she's going to speak to St. Mary. She stood in front of her picture and she was like, St. Mary, you know our problem. You know what we're going through. Crying to her, she was like, please go ahead of Salib, convince Sayyidina, and please allow us to get married. We love each other and we only want to open a mini house where we can praise Rabbana. First day passed by, second day passed by. سيدنا بيتصل بطنط فايقة. Hello, how are you? I'm good سيدنا, أنت عامل إيه؟ حصل إيه في موضوع أبونا مينا? What happened? Is موضوع صليب? Is he still stubborn about getting married to that girl? And she was like, yes سيدنا, he's really stubborn. He still wants to get married to her. And he was like, you're gonna say yes with no any more objections. You're gonna go and bless the wedding as well. And indeed, Metropolitan Hydra did go and bless the wedding, and they both got married. On the marriage day, at night, once they got home, and now they're alone. Tasuni Mariam, until she got to the bedroom, she found Abuna Mina standing waiting for her. And he was like, come my dear, we're gonna stand and pray before Rabbana. He closed the door and he had such a big lovely picture of the Pantocrator, of Jesus sitting on his throne. And he was like, the first thing we need to learn to do is ask Rabbana to bless anything we're about to do. And indeed, they both stood up and prayed. And Tasoni, when I was hearing, there is a lovely video that she explains the story as well. She was like, please youth, learn this before you do anything, before you commit anything in your life, stand up and pray. Don't rely upon yourself. Don't rely on your mind that you're going to be able to sort it out. You have to go to Rabbana first before you do anything. So that was really, really lovely. That stuck in my mind from Abuna Mina. And that's it. They got married 15th of January 2000. And Abuna Mina was born 1974, so he was pretty young. That's why Tante Faia, she was like, you're too young to get married. And Psalm 128:3 says, put the Lord before anything you do in your life. So there we go. Abuna Mina and Ustaz Salib and Maryam, they were both blessed with two lovely girls, Justina and Verena. And like any other couple, they used to have their own arguments every single day. They used to shout at each other. But the minute she started crying, Abuna Mina would tell her, you know what, the problem is now resolved. Don't worry. كأنها المشكلة ما حصلت. Like he was so حنين, so tender on her that the minute she started crying لا خلاص the issue is resolved, احنا ما هنزعل بعض للطريقة دي. And then he always had something in his life. We would never sleep at night واحنا الاتنين زعلانين من بعض. We should not sleep unless if we make it up. We cannot make the night pass by unless we both make it up and make sure that we're okay with each other and forgive each other. So that's something else that he was living with. I want you to hear this. He's really like good, has a good sense of humor.
أنا خدمت مينا فلان صديقها.
Abuna Mina, for a long time, his heart longed to become a priest. So both Maryam and Salib, they decided they're going to pray about it. And they were like, هنقدم مشيئة ربنا and see what he wants. So at some point they did the voting in church and they decided they're going to choose 3 people out of the 5 people on the list. Abuna Mina didn't make it the first round. He got really, really upset and quiet within himself, not telling Maryam, his wife. And Maryam kind of saw that he was upset, he was quiet about it, and she was like, did we not decide that we're gonna pray and we'll leave it with Rabbana? And he was like, but you know, ya Maryam, I felt like in Rabbana, he's not, مش شايفني إن أنا enough to become a priest, to serve his altar and his name. Like I really have the passion for it, but surely I'm doing something wrong, and Rabbana ما اختارني إن أنا أبقى أبونا لسه. So she was like, Salib, we decided we're gonna pray about it, let's just pray and leave it aside. Indeed, they stopped thinking about it, they decided they're going to dedicate their lives, work full-time, take care of their girls, and just pray about it. If Rabbana wants to allow it, he will allow it at the right time. One night, 4th of December, Anta Kuzman بيتصل بأبونا مينا, Ustaz Salih. And he was like, tomorrow, pack your bag, tomorrow you're coming with me, North Sina. He was like, what for ya Sayyidina? راح قال له, you will find out tomorrow. Apparently they had done secret voting, and then Abuna Mina made it as the second one on the list to become an Abuna. So he packed up his bag, 4th of December, went with Sayyidina, stayed there for a couple of months, and he was ordained as a general priest on the 3rd of March 2012. So between his time of ordination to the time of his martyrdom, he was a priest for about 1 year and 4 months. Everyone is quoting that Abuna Mina was smiley all the time, serving anyone and everyone. And Tasoni recalled a couple of situations where Abuna Mina really was wise in his actions. First one, they were at home together and someone calls Abuna and says, and he was shouting, apparently that Tasoni can hear every single word. And Abuna remained quiet. خلاص تمام يا ابني ربنا يحلك. وقفل معاه. Tasoni Maryam, she was like, how does he dare to talk to you like this? Yeah, like, and I'm really upset that he spoke to you like this وانت ساكت, انت هادي. You should have told him something, you should have told him off. راح قال لها يا مريم, هو متضايق أو زعلان, someone has upset him, possibly he has an argument with his wife, possibly مراته خانقة عليه, like حرام طلعها فيا, it's okay. A couple of weeks later, that same person was Abuna Mina's best friend. Tasoni Maryam then thought within herself, she was like, if he had shouted at him, if he had told him off, ما كانش هيعرف يكسبه لحضنه, like لحضن ربنا. So she decided that she's not gonna be the hated one and get angry, but allow Abuna have his own space to act, with wisdom. Something else happened, and I think they were attending a church together, liturgy, and then Tasoni saw someone walking in after the gospel. Abuna Hanna always says, come nice and early. So someone walked through after the gospel, and she had communion. And Tasoni went and said to Abuna Mina, هو أنت عشان لسه young و fresh you allow everyone كده easily إنه يتناول ويدخل عادي, like أبونا be a bit more strict. راح أبصلها كده with loving and care. راح قال لها مريم, you don't know the ins and outs of every person, you don't know what she's going through, let's just mind our own business. She was like, I didn't get upset from him because he said it in a nice way that truly I should mind my own business. Why am I focusing on this person? Why am I not focusing on myself? Literally, let's mind our own business. لأن كل واحد فيه اللي مكفيه. So that's that. No, again. Abuna Mina loved celebrating lots of liturgies. He found his heart so much into it, so he would attend lots and lots of liturgies. And at some point in their life, he had to spend quite a long time in the monastery. So, not in the monastery, one of the churches, because they had lots of services throughout the day, from morning till night. So Tasoni, Mariam, Verena, and Justina, they decided they're gonna go and sit with him. There was a really minuscule little room, and they all stayed in together so they can support Abuna in his service. So as a family, they were all close together. She was like, we barely had any time with him. He was always rushing from one service to the other. That one day, Abuna Mina got back home, and Tasani Mariam was in pain, like so much pain. Her whole arm was bruised, and she didn't know what was the cause of it. So Abuna Mina came, and she was like, once he eats ويريح شوية, I'm gonna ask him, let's go to the doctor. Abuna Mina comes in, showers, then they eat together, then لبس هدومه, and he was like, Mariam, I'm gonna go. She looked at him after, and she was like, are you not gonna even take me to the doctor? Yani, you can see that I'm in pain. راح بصلها كده بابتسامة, like really loving and caring, and he was like, which arm is hurting? Which hand is hurting? She was like, this one. He was like, بإذن ربنا, it's gonna be all good. Yalla, go, you're fine. And he walked off. Before he makes it out of the building, all the bruises had gone, and she felt absolutely fine, like nothing had happened. She knew inside her heart that he's a blessed man. What else? There is a lovely quote that I read in the book, and I want to read it as it is written. As a priest regularly celebrating the liturgy, he used to offer the sacrifice of his master on the altar. Eventually, he ended up offering himself as a precious sacrifice acceptable to his Redeemer. He himself became a sweet aroma whose smell pleased his father's heart. He was really simple, really humble. He would sit down on the floor, speak to everyone. He would come and speak to the youth with a loving heart. حتى لو بيبكي about something, he would be like, save your tears. Why are you crying about earthly problems? These are going to come by and go. But why don't you cry to build a house in heavens? This is what it really matters. أنت بتبكي على مشكلة في الشغل, بتبكي على مشكلة في حياتك. It's going to go by. It's going to pass by. Like, it's not a big deal. Cry in front of your father, so then your tears are going to be counted by your loving father, so then you can make it to heaven. He was really lovely with everything that he used to say to everyone, supporting everyone. He would listen to everyone without any boredom, that a lot of people would call him, though he was really young, 38 years old, they would call him Baba, because he was a guiding father. He was always smiley. He was always seeking how to improve himself. He used to struggle with anger. And every time he would get angry, he had a mini book in his pocket, Lil Baba Shnuda, about calmness. Every time he used to struggle with anger, he'd take out that book and read it. And like any other couple, they were shouting against each other. That even الفراش البواب بتاع الكنيسة عم عاطف, he once was like, what's going on? Let's solve it out together. They were normal couple, like any other person. That hit me in a sense. القديسين دول, they're not much different than us. They just have a deep relationship مع ربنا. This is the difference between us and them. We just need to build that relationship مع ربنا as much as we can. Regardless of our imperfections, Rabbana will make us perfect in His eyes and give us His grace to glorify His name. Tasoni said something lovely in that video when she was talking about Abuna Mina. The true hero behind the Abuna Mina story is Jesus our Lord. So we should never forget that. He never hated anyone. He loved everyone around him, even the non-Christian people, that everyone was always speaking nicely about him. No one can recall ever a time that they had to go together, even when he was Abuna, like a normal person like us, and even when he became Abuna, everyone loved him. He ministered a lot of people. His service was really fiery, that a lot of his people that were following him and learning from him the hymns went to the monastery and became monks and nuns. Until this day, they remember Abuna Mina was the biggest effect on their lives to love Rabbana and follow monasticism and became nuns. Abuna Mina used to fear a lot of stuff, like any other person like us, like everyone. He used to fear all the problems that were happening, the shooting at that time in Egypt. So if you recall, it was really, really bad that they will bomb churches, they will hit cars, they will target Christian people. He was really scared, like any other human being. At some point, they were in a car traveling. I can't remember where they were traveling to, but it was Abuna Mina, his wife, his 2 daughters, and his wife's sister. And they were in the car, and a big accident happened that everyone thought مش هيطلعوا سلام, no one would be alive. Miraculously, everyone came out absolutely fine. Only Tasuni had a couple of bruises. Abuna Mina, for some reason, took it as a sign that the end is coming. And ever since, Tasoni quotes that he was really brave out of nowhere. Like she was like, I know my husband. He's never that brave. Something happened that touched him, and he's more braver than ever before. And he doubled his time in prayer. He doubled his time in sitting down with Rabbana. He doubled his service. Like he was already so far in his service, but he doubled everything in preparation to heaven. After that, it took about a week or 2 before the martyrdom happens. Abuna Mina, coming by the time اللي هو كان هيستشهد فيه, he started doing stuff that people realized actually he was preparing for it. There was a lady that took care of the money, and she would give Abuna the money and take the receipt. That day, he said to her, he was like, take that receipt. She was about to walk off the room and forgot the receipt. And he was like, take the receipt. I'm not going to be there tomorrow. And this servant, she was like, no, Abuna, I'm going to come and take it from you tomorrow. Don't worry, I'm in a rush now. He was like, please take that receipt. I'm not going to be there tomorrow. And she was like, where are you going to go? He's like, just listen to me, take that receipt. You gave me the money. I don't want anyone to call you a thief for stealing the money or any reason. Take that receipt. At least that's an evidence that you've given me the money. So that was one. The other thing was at home, he was really more silent. He would look at his beloved ones, his wife and daughters, and spend more time with them, but in a sense that he was trying to fill his heart from looking at them and spending time with them. The day before his martyrdom at night, they had a massive argument. Abuna wanted to go to one of the churches where the servants were shabab, they had a retreat. And then Tasani was like, you're a priest. They're going to target you the minute you walk out of the building. And he was shouting back saying, I can't leave my kids. They're there alone. They need someone to protect them. And she was like, at least not you. Someone else can go. Someone that is not a priest. They were arguing. I'm out of Damrat. They were like, what's going on? Let me solve this out. Tasoni, you stay with your daughters because they're going to be scared. There are bombs, there are shoots that they can hear. It's not settled. It's not okay for you to go out while there is lockdown and they're asking everyone to stay at home. Please stay with your daughters. I'll go with Abuna Mina. I'll reassure you that he's okay. So they did that. Abuna Mina went to the church, sat with the youth. They started يرموا Molotov. What is it in English? Molotov برضو. So they started throwing it at chairs, so everyone got scared and upset, and one of the girls started crying, and he was like, يا بنت انت زعلانة ليه؟ حد يطول إن هو يستشهد ومالها لو في رصاصة أو 2. What if you get shot with 1 or 2 bullets? He knew how he's gonna die because he said it for a reason, and everyone quoted that he said it specifically the way he's gonna die. That night, he made it back home, but he asked Tasoni while he was really tired and really quiet within himself. He was like, Tasoni, I'm gonna sleep apart tonight, if you don't mind. And Tasoni was like, you must be tired, that's absolutely fine. Tasoni went and slept in the room, and Abuna went and slept in the girls' room. There were 2 beds, so he literally فرش حاجة like a blanket in the floor and slept. Tasoni wakes up in the morning, Abuna already had breakfast, Abuna already was sitting in a corner, and it seemed like he was talking to someone. No one was in front of him, but she can see that he was having a conversation, that he was talking, then quiet, بيسكت كده شوية, and then he was answering, and sometimes he would be smiling, sometimes he would look like a bit upset. And then all of a sudden, he turns his face and looks at her with so much love. She always quotes it, so much love. He loved her so much and always looking at her with so much love and care. He was like, you okay? She was like, yes, who are you talking to? He was like, nothing, I was just praying. And then he was getting ready to go out that day. Abuna غير عادته, he forgot his phone. He didn't forget it. He intentionally left his phone. And his daughter was like, Baba, take your phone. And he was like, I won't need it today, my daughter. Keep it with you. And then his wife was like, Abuna, there is something wrong. Where are you going today? And he was like, I'm going to go hasalli. I think he had breakfast or not. Forgive me if I don't remember. I think he went to St. George where he was ordained to yani have a last liturgy before his martyrdom. And then he was like, I'm going to go after to the mechanic to sew the car. And then total silence for a couple of minutes. The Sunni was like, Abuna, where are you going after the mechanic? Total silence. He was just looking in her eyes, saying absolutely nothing. He wasn't wearing his ring either. So he left his phone purposely. He wasn't wearing his ring. He had left it in the drawer next to their bed, in the bedroom. And he was like, take care of yourselves, and left. He went to church, went to the mechanic, and that was the time. He was in his car when people behind him with a car and a motorbike, they came and surrounded the car. They started shooting the car, but the first bullet came into his right thigh, so he can't drive the car. And then they dragged him out of the car with the salib, the cross, that they can see all the injuries around his neck. And they would kick him, punch him, throw him in the floor, make him stand up again, say shahada. No. Kick him again down in the floor, say shahada so I can have mercy on you. Abuna Mina said to him, I pray that Rabbuna has mercy on me and you together. This is the minute that he raised him from the floor again, 9 shots all the way from top to bottom. That all his teeth, one of the shots came to his mouth, all his teeth fell on the floor with bloods. And then they left him there on the floor with غرقان في دمه. They took the car stopped for some reason. They took the rest of the things like cars, motorbikes, whatever they had with them, and left. All this was witnessed by a non-Christian lady. No one else saw it, no one has recorded it, but there is a kind of theater play that they've done for Abuna Mina, so go and watch it as well. So that's that. The Sunni Maryam is really sweet, more than I had thought. She really learned a lot from Abuna Mina, and she was always quoting that Abuna Mina was humble in his answers. Abuna Mina was always smiley. Abuna Mina always minded his business. Abuna Mina was not seeking earthly belongings. Abuna Mina had a big inheritance, and they decided together that they're going to try and find another place to live together. But Abuna Mina kind of left the whole responsibility on her. So one day she came and complained, like, you really don't care about us living in a better place? Like, you're really leaving everything on me? You're really busy with service, and I can't take care of the girls by myself or find a better place for us to live. And then Abuna Mina was like, you know what, Ya Maryam? I honestly would like a villa and we can live into it. And she's like, we're getting somewhere. Abuna Mina was like, a villa in heaven. Why, no matter whatever I buy on earth, it's going to be renting because I'm here temporarily. But if I build my treasure in heaven, this is what I actually belong to. This is what actually belongs to me from the Father. So I should be building there, not here. Every time they were about to have Eid, Tante Faya and Sunni Maryam, they would try and get him new stuff, like Abuna, get out of service, let's buy new clothes. He's like, it isn't about the new clothes. It's about a new heart. This is what Rabbana wants from me. So literally everything that he was saying, it was a testimony for us to learn from him and be true Christian-like. When Abuna Mina was martyred, the Sunni Faya came and stood in front of his picture and Surah Yasura, and she was like, from this day onwards, I'm gonna stop wearing like anyone else. I'm gonna wear white and white because I know where he is. I know he is alive. And I'm gonna not take care of myself. I'm not gonna put any makeup. And then she stopped for a second. She was like, طب يعني أنت يا Abuna Mina, you know that my eyebrows, when I leave them and I don't do them, they grow up, sorry man, like men's, and they look really awful in my face. What am I gonna do if I don't touch them, if I don't do anything with them? literally, ever since that prayer, she never had her eyebrows grow up again, and they literally كأنهم ثبتوا زي ما هم, like they never grew up back again. What else? They always quote in the book and in the video, she's always happy to talk about her love. She's always happy to share stuff about Abuna Mina. Her good sense of humor, she's like, today I came to talk to you about Abuna Mina. Of course, Abuna Mina had weaknesses, but we're not here to talk about it today. We're here to talk about the good stuff. He was a normal human being like anyone, like any person like us. That she once كان بتسبحه. She was like praying his tamgid, and she was like, once in the past أنا كنت بتخانق معك, I was arguing with you. Today أنا بسبح ليك, يعني أنت بقيت قديس خلاص. She was pondering a lot of stuff within herself. Something that had happened in his martyrdom on the day, the second day and the third day, she never cried. For some reason, she didn't have that energy to cry. And they didn't allow anyone to see his body after the shoots because it was really, really bad. That when they were moving his body from El Arish to Cairo, they were trying to get his body into the plane. One من الإرهابيين, the terrorist, he came out and he was like, if you don't all bow down now, I'm gonna explode this bomb. Everyone freaked out. What? No, Tasuni Mariam didn't care. She's like, I'm ready. أنا هتبع my beloved. I'm gonna go to heaven. He's of course highest rank, but at least I'll be with him, and I'm sure he's gonna take care of Verena and Justina, their daughters. All of a sudden, she was like, put her hand on Abuna Mina coffin, and she was like, you're gonna sort it out. Everyone else was screaming, shouting, scared, like, what's gonna happen? We're gonna die, and istashhad. All of a sudden, army comes, takes that man. They shot his hand. That even Abuna was like, one of the priests that was with them, he was like, الرصاصة دي, it could have gone the wrong way, and we could have all been died, متنا دلوقتي. But Abuna Mina really saved us that day. Abuna Mina in his coffin, because of what had happened with his teeth, they had covered his face so no one can see how bad it was. His mom went to take a blessing while he was in church in the coffin. She was crying and she was like, I knew this was gonna happen. Why did you leave me? His body was dead. It was like second, third day in, and all in blood. They saw tears coming out of his eyes. That they were like, he was comforting his mom. He is alive, but his body isn't alive, but he's with us. The guy that washed his body, he was a non-Christian guy. And that non-Christian guy was just wondering, and while he was washing his body, he was like, he's really young. Like, is it not a shame now? I went to heaven and he's really young. Ever since, Abuna Mina would appear to him at home, standing, all smiley. He's like, طب أنت عايز مني إيه? What do you want from me? What's wrong with you? He would appear to him. One of the Christian friends, he said to him, he's telling you, my body is dead, but I'm alive. Someone had a dream. I can't remember who it was, but that was in the book. Abuna Mina was in heavens, but he wasn't yet wearing this white stuff in the picture. Diana got it from me, from how much I love Abuna. Another friend got it from me. He was like, why? He asked the angel, he was like, why is he not wearing the white stuff? And they were like, we're waiting for the earthly prayer to finish, and this is his clothes now, ready to wear for him. They clean for his life and everything he's done to glorify Jesus' name. And this is why this picture is there. It's because of that dream that this person had, and they made him wear it, of course, after the salawat ala al-ard انتهت. Tasuni is really sweet. I really want you to bear with me and listen to this here.
موقف حلو حصل. أنا عارفة إني طولت، سوري للآباء، بس هو الموقف ده الحقيقة بيدل إن إيماننا بالشفاعة صحيح 100%، مليون في المية، وإيماننا إنه في كنيسة منتصرة، وإن اللي سبقونا على السما عايشين، لما نتشفع بيهم فعلا بيسمعونا. هو اختبار حي جميل جدا، حابة أشاركه معاكم عشان تعرفوا إن إيماننا وأرثوذكسيتنا صحيح جدا جدا جدا. حبيت أصبح على أبونا مع القديسين. عارفين مديح باكر نسجد لاسم الثالوث. أيوة ألفت بقى ربع لأبونا. أكمل. السلام لحبيبي وجوزي أبونا مينا، اشفع في بناتك فيرينا ويوستينا. فأول ما ألفت الربع ده لقيت أبونا بيتصل بيا من العريش بيقول لي معايا رسالة ليكي. قلت له خير يا أبونا. قال لي أبونا مينا جالي وقال لي سلم لي على مريم وطمنها على فيرينا ويوستينا. يعني سمع الربع وإيه وبعد الرد. فده بجد بيأكد إنه لما نتشفع بالقديسين فعلا فعلا بيسمعونا وبيتشفعوا لنا.
Abuna Mina is an intercessor for all of us. And she says that this story that I'm about to try to translate and do justice is proof of our faith and proof of our orthodoxy and proof of our dogma and proof of heaven and proof of everything, and that we should have intercessors. Tasoni took the morning doxology, which we worship the Father and the Son, and she made a verse for Abuna Mina. I'm going to try to do it justice, but it's like, hail to my beloved Abuna Mina, please pray for your daughters, Justina and Verina. Okay, it's not bad, right? So at the moment she finished that doxology, she received a phone call from another priest who said to her, I have a beautiful message for you. She said, go, Abuna. He said, Abuna told me to call you and to say hi to you and to Justina and Verina. So this is proof that our intercessions and our intercessors hear us.
I told you about the eyebrow story, and I told you about the angry man, but there is a watermelon story. Tasoni, after the martyrdom of Abuna Mina, she hadn't eaten at all. But she felt really weak, low blood sugar, low blood pressure. She felt really, really rough that she was like, I'm going to die, I'm going to follow my beloved. And she was like, I only ask you to take care of my daughters. All of a sudden, she hadn't told anyone this. All of a sudden, one of her daughters comes along. She's like, Mama, have this watermelon. This watermelon smelled of barakah. Like it really felt like someone just had prayed bukhur in the room. She ate one little piece. She couldn't eat more. One little piece. She was like, I felt like I ate big lamb, chicken, whatnot. I felt like I'm all energized. But I know that was my beloved who had sent it to me through his daughter. So she can really, really see Abuna in a lot of stuff in her life. This priest here was ordained with Abuna Mina on the same day. Is Abuna Rafael Musa Ayub. They were both serving. He was martyred 3 years after Abuna Mina. He knew that he was going to get martyred, and he only shared it with Tasoni Maryam. He came and told her, I'm going to die in the same way that Abuna Mina died. She believed him because he was firing his service as well. Not very known as Abuna Mina, but indeed 3 years later, June 2016, he himself was attacked by non-Christian people and they killed him. Not near enough in the same way, but he was left in the streets among his blood bardo, and he is one of our intercessors at the moment. I told you about my friend and her flat story, but hear this out. He's really sweet in the way that he talks as well.
انا بحب جدا الطبه بتاعت الاقتصاديه اخر قطعه في الخروج اللي بنتكلم فيها العذراء دايما انها عند خروج نفسي مني احذري عني ولا مؤامره الاعداء هزيم ولا ابواب الجحيم مخرجه. فانا اقول لملاكي انا ليا ملاك حارس بس انا وعلماني يمشي قدامي، انا وكهنوت يمشي ورايا. تعرف دي؟ ملاك الحارس مع الراجل العلماني يمشي قدامه مع الكهنوت عشان كرامه الكهنوت يمشي وراه. خلاص؟ معايا ولا؟ تمام. فملاك الحارس ده دايما انا بحب اكون مثلا انا اعمل اخطا. انا بحب انه مثلا اقول له معلش صحيح.
Let's see what else I haven't told you about him. His teeth, one of the guys in that street where he was killed, his teeth were on the floor, when they took his body to the hospital to try and save him, of course, Tasuni had no idea. And the rumors went by across the city very quickly. A priest was killed. A priest was shot with 9 shots. She didn't know that it was her husband. And I did when I was reading the book. She didn't know that. She was like, who is he? Who is that priest that was killed? It's not Abuna Mina. And then the neighbors, Atif and Murato, they came and knocked on the door to check on her. And then she was like, I heard that there is a priest who was killed. Who is he? And they're like, it's him. And she was like, who is him? They were like, it's Abuna Mina. The 2 phones, her phone and Abuna Mina's phone, fell from her hands. And she fainted. The teeth, one of the guys that was around the street where he was killed, I think he was a non-Christian guy. He gathered all the teeth from the floor. They were all covered in blood, and they literally have a picture of it. These teeth, ever since Istishhad Abuna Mina, they bleeded twice. They were in the relics, and a lot of people would come and visit Tasuni in her house, and everyone in the house is covered with his pictures, and she wears a little small necklace with his picture as well. Every time someone would come, she's like, حد تاني أخذ البركة. They would put like a tissue inside and wait for it whenever it bleeds. Every time they would come, Sayyidina would come, Abuna would come from different places, take the barakah, and she was like, nothing is left for me now and your daughters. Like, يعني عيب كده. And a deacon, Kosa, and he's like, Tasuni, I heard about the bleeding teeth. Can I come by and take barakah? And she was like, أنت حظك بقى تعالى. So the guy comes along, بيفتحوا the relics, and they found the new tissue that they have put in. It was all wet and cut in many pieces. 1 for the deacon, 1 for Tasuni, and 2 for Verena and Justina. Like if Abuna himself had specifically prepared them. This is a bit of a long video as well, but we'll hear part of it. I think because we don't have much time, I shall let you guys watch it another time. This is the book that I told you. Please go and buy it. Please go and read it. It's on Amazon. It's only like 10 quid or something. It's really, really lovely. It has everything about Abuna Mina, all his story. It's really, really comforting. And I'm glad that all of you came today because I feel like he wants to knock on your door and get to be your friend. So give him that room to be your friend. That's me. Any questions?